I have been procrastinating making this video for when it's daytime and it's nights out, but I have been so busy during my work days and during the day on the weekends that I just have not been able to find the right time. So here we are, it's nighttime. I have the light of my overhead dining room light and my little Alex Earl light, and this is what we're working with. Actually, let me try to put one more light on. I don't think that helped at all, but anyway. I wanted to give you guys a recap of my second trimester. I have a couple first trimester videos where I recap kind of how that went, which first trimester was just like all morning sickness, but I don't have an actual second trimester recap. So welcome to my second trimester recap video. I am currently 31 weeks and 5 days pregnant, so nearly 32 weeks. So I am nearly 4 weeks into my third trimester and I haven't done this video yet. So I filmed this whole video and then I had a weird shadow like under my nose that made it look like I had a mustache. So I'm really hoping that that is not the case with this video. So looking in the viewfinder, I don't see any weird shadows besides the ones behind me, so I can live with that. But anyway, I want to give you guys a little update on my second trimester. I had this whole plan of like, oh, I'll do it like when it's daytime with like, you know, my background as like my backyard with like the pretty trees and like, you know, the budding flowers because it's springtime. Actually, tomorrow's the first day of spring. It just never happened and I don't think it's gonna happen. So I'm just gonna film this now when I have the time because life is just getting crazier and crazier and I'm gonna have this baby in 7 to 9 weeks. So I gotta give you guys a second trimester update before I never do. And this is information that I want to remember years from now. So if I wanna go back when I'm pregnant with my second baby and watch this video and say like, okay, like what happened in the second trimester? Or if I just wanna like go back and watch this video, my second trimester with my first baby, here's the recap of my second trimester. First things first. I stayed having morning sickness until I was 17 weeks pregnant. First 3 weeks of my second trimester, I was still throwing up, very nauseous. And the last time I threw up was when I was 17 weeks. And then at around 20 weeks is when my nausea really was fully gone. I still to this day have like days where I'm nauseous and like moments where I'm nauseous, but for the most part, it was gone at around 20 weeks. And then at 17 weeks and 5 days is when I felt the baby kick for the first time. I swear it was as clear as day. I was sitting on the couch right over there and I was working at my laptop and I felt poke poke right in the center of my lower stomach. And I was like, what was that? And so I called to Zach, my husband, and I was like, I think I just felt the baby move. That happened. And then a couple hours later, I felt like the same type of thing. And I was like, that's the baby, I think. And sure enough, it was. And she's continued to kick me since then. I did have a little bit, I don't want to call it a scare because I think it's just like new mom nervousness. But between that first week where I felt her kick, they were pretty much like on and off every few hours. I would feel little movements. But at around 18 weeks to almost 20 weeks, she was very quiet with her like kicks and her movements. They weren't as prominent as like those first few days when she started kicking. So of course I was nervous. I was worried that, you know, decreased fetal movement meant something was wrong. I was still so early in my pregnancy where they weren't needing me to count the kicks or like keep track of fetal movements. And every time I mentioned it to my doctor, they were like, do not worry about this until 28 weeks, you're fine. Since then, she's been kicking and moving and punching. And I feel her all the time. Okay, so the next thing, at 22 weeks, we had our anatomy scan and everything looked good besides the fact that she was measuring in the 10th percentile. So anything under the 20 and they have you come back in 4 weeks for a growth scan to see if she's grown and to see where she's at. At 26 weeks, we went back and she had dropped from the 10th percentile to the 5th percentile. Now, anything 9th percentile and under is considered growth restricted. So she officially got the diagnosis of fetal growth restriction or intrauterine growth restriction, IUGR, FGR. Those are kind of interchangeable, which made this a high-risk pregnancy. So starting at 26 weeks, we've had to go into the perinatal doctor or the MFM, the maternal fetal medicine doctor, every week to check on her. She was at 26 weeks, she was measuring 1 pound, 10 ounces, and like I said, was in the 5th percentile. That was really hard news to hear. No one wants to hear that they're high risk. No one wants to hear that their baby's measuring in the 5th percentile. It's a scary thing to hear, and I know other people have heard worse things and have been high risk for scarier reasons, but no one likes to hear that in general, because when you're high risk and when you're growth restricted, there is a higher statistic of a scary thing that no one wants to hear, that I don't even want to talk about, but I'm sure you can imagine what it is. Finding that out at 26 weeks, they also let me know that I would need to be induced at 38 or 39 weeks and that I wouldn't be able to go into labor naturally unless I happen to go into labor at 38 or 39 weeks naturally, which probably won't happen since this is my first baby. That happened at 26 weeks. So basically, from the 26-week appointment to I'm still going to this day, they do a test where they do a Doppler test, which is where they check to see the blood flow from me to the baby via the umbilical cord, and they make sure that it's flowing properly, that it looks good, and every week it has looked good. And they every week give us a picture of her. So they try to do the 3D one to get a good picture of her, but she's been so smushed against my uterine wall that she hasn't really been able to show her face so well, except for 2 weeks ago. We got a really good picture of her face. So if you haven't seen my vlog from 2 weeks ago, go watch that. Anyway, also at 26 weeks pregnant, I got a really bad cold that knocked me out. I feel like people don't understand that like during pregnancy, your immune system is way low because fun fact, if you didn't know this, your immune system is completely lowered during pregnancy. If your immune system was higher during pregnancy, it might detect that your baby is foreign or something that it needs to attack. So your body naturally lowers your immune system. So you're more susceptible to colds, flus, all of that. And on top of being more susceptible, you also like can't take anything. Can't take decongestants, can't take NyQuil, can't take DayQuil. You can't take high doses of vitamin C. So there's really like nothing you can do when you're sick except for just suffer through it. My husband was able to get over this cold without using cold medicine in 2 days. It took me a week. So that sucked, but obviously I got over it. Haven't been sick since, knock on wood. Hopefully it stays like that. So yeah, anyway, my other note that I wanted to add in here was at my 26-week appointment when they told us that she was growth restricted and only in the 5th percentile. They said one thing I could try doing was upping my protein intake to at least 60 grams of protein a day, which I think I was getting some days, but not all. So since then, I have been making sure that I'm getting at least the 60 grams. But honestly, most days I go above that. So I know this is about the 2nd trimester, but a little spoiler alert, baby's now measuring the 8th percentile. So I do think maybe the protein helped. I don't know. It could have been the protein. She could have just had a growth spurt. Who knows? Okay, so those were my general notes that I had of like things that happened in my 2nd trimester. So now I'm going to talk about my symptoms. So I don't know what it was, but I had the worst back pain in my 2nd trimester. It started in the late teens, maybe like 18 or 19 weeks, and it ended at around 27 weeks. And I don't know why, because I just keep getting bigger, but my back pain has gotten better. So I don't know if my body adjusted to it. I have no idea what happened. The back pain's gone now, but I had some really bad back pain. But I started doing prenatal yoga and like prenatal stretching to help my back pain, and that really, really helped. So if you're having any kind of back pain during pregnancy, try doing the prenatal yoga and the stretching and see if that helps, because it did. I haven't done it in like a month, but my back pain has also not been bad in this last month. My light just died. Do I feel like setting up an entire ring light right now? Probably not. So I'm gonna finish this video with this as the lighting, besides the back pain. I had some fatigue. My fatigue levels were honestly the same between my 1st trimester and my 2nd trimester. Maybe a little bit better in my 2nd trimester because I wasn't as sick, but yeah, some fatigue, not bad. I really haven't had any crazy fatigue this whole pregnancy. I also started experiencing some irritability. My whole pregnancy so far, I really haven't been moody or like irritable or anything, which I know sounds fake, but I'm from Jersey. I'm a very sassy girl. My irritability and like sassiness has kind of just been the same. My husband, you know, I gotta say he's a lucky man because I have not been as irritable as most pregnant women are. He should be very grateful for that. But yeah, I had some irritability, but like nothing crazy. I have another note here that at around 26 weeks, my bump started to pop. So like when you looked at me, if I was wearing a tight shirt, like it was like, oh, like that girl is pregnant. And it was less like, oh, that girl gained a few pounds. So I was really happy about that, because once the bump popped and I was able to like rub my stomach without someone just thinking that I'm hungry, it was like, okay, like I've made it, like I'm pregnant now. Another thing I noticed was that I had a lot of frequent movement throughout the day, but I noticed that she moved the most at night. That is still true to this day, and I think that's true for most pregnant moms. Yeah, so my last note about the movements were that they started really low around my pelvic area, and only at the end of my second trimester did they even start to like get up by my belly button. Even now, they mainly stay pretty low, and sometimes like off to the side. Like she just kicked me now and it was like in my lower stomach. Well, I think she punched me because she's head down facing inward, but like kind of turned a little bit where her feet are like on this side of my stomach, and her hands and everything are on this side of my stomach as well. So I'll get like little jabs and stuff. But yeah, for the most part, they've remained pretty low. The last part of this video, this is the #1 question I get asked by people in my life. What are your cravings? I don't have any cool cravings, or like, oh, how interesting, pickles and rice, or like hot Cheetos and mustard. Like, I don't have any cool cravings like that. It's basically just like chocolate, which is so simple, but I've just been craving all things sweet, but like really specifically chocolate. So like chocolate ice cream's a big one, Oreos, chocolate chip cookies, Chips Ahoy, love chocolate covered pretzels. Not really like actual like chocolate candies, like chocolate bars. I like chocolate treats, brownies. Yeah, I also love a good Rice Krispie. I love a good Cinnamon Toast Crunch, or like French toast sticks. So it's not just chocolate, but mainly where my cravings have lied has been with sweet things. But I haven't had any like cool, like abnormal cravings. I wish I did, but I don't, not for this pregnancy at least. And as far as aversions, they have honestly gotten better. I actually was just at a St. Patrick's Day barbecue. People were eating my big aversions, which if I didn't mention it before, my #1 aversion was hot dogs. Literally seeing one, thinking about one. It happened multiple times in my first trimester where I would think of a hot dog and projectile vomit. Or like see a picture of one on someone's story and like literally like spew chunks. Sorry, that's like a little bit graphic, but I'm serious. Like I couldn't even think about it. My aversions got like less and less. Now I still would not eat a hot dog in a million years. I don't even know if I'm ever gonna eat one again, but I'm not as disgusted to be around it. I'm able to just kind of like turn my head and like, it doesn't like affect me, you know? So yeah, anyway, that was a recap of my second trimester. I wish I had more of a scenic background. I wish my light stayed on this whole time, but sometimes that's just what it's gonna be. And instead of just scrapping this whole video and giving up, I'm gonna edit it and I'm gonna post it because I want this video to go out so bad. It's already 4 weeks into my third trimester, so I have to get this video out now. Otherwise, it's gonna be like, what's the point of this? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're in your second trimester, comment down below if you've had any of similar symptoms or similar cravings or anything like that, because I'd be very interested to know what you're dealing with too. I'm having a girl, so that could explain some of my sweet tooth. But anyway, subscribe, and thank you guys for watching. I'm so excited to continue this pregnancy journey and document it, and life is going to change very soon. Come back for the next one.